Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Seal of Approval. Joining me tonight is Scrump, who's not turned up yet. He's on his way. That's why we were late. But he's being a slacker. But also, I've got some very special guests this week. First of all, returning Seal of Approval friend Arielle Scarcella. How are you?
We're a veteran now. She's a veteran.
Yeah, like you've actually been on quite a number of my streams now.
I think three, at least three. Yeah.
I think so. Oh no, mine. Yeah. Yes, it is. So how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Oh, here he is.
There he is. Hi, Scrump.
Hi, sorry I'm a tiny bit late.
I
had some PC trouble. Also, I had to tie up a trap, so this is my usual tradition.
Fair enough. Also, joining tonight, Darren Grimes. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for coming on the show. I've actually talked about you a number of times on videos, so it's cool to get you on.
No, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm a big fan of everything that you do.
And also another friend of the channel, Proper Horrorshow. How are you?
Hey, Elle. How's it going?
So with everyone here, before we go on to the bit which everyone knows is coming, I just want to do a quick little bit of shilling, just because I kind of want to. So for people who might not know, I've actually started a random Twitch channel. And I have 2 followers, so can people please give me some love up there at some point? That's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna start doing like
it's more than I have on Twitch. I don't even have a Twitch, so
I'm planning on doing like really casual streams on there, like kind of gaming nights. So come join the Discord. And you will be able to then kind of take part in chill gaming nights. It will all be streamed on there. Like the other week when I did the that woke card game, like what's it called? That card game we played the other week. Virtue Signal.
Virtue Signal, yeah.
That sounds fun.
It's actually really, really good.
A lot of fun.
It's a proper like social justice game where the idea is you get a character. That's like a kind of social justice archetype. And then you build up your followers and you stop other people from building their followers by accusing them of microaggressions. And then you can save yourself with a virtue signal. And then there's like trigger cards.
I was quite impressed by it. Yeah, it was quite a comprehensive game actually, and it didn't run too long. Although you did win kind of out of nowhere.
I did win because I'm good at games.
Yes. Or you've just been following this shit far too closely, and it's depressing.
So let's get into the show. And as is tradition on Seal of Approval, here are our friends, the Seals of Muse.
Hooray!
The Seals of Muse are back, and they've bought stories. They've bought a couple of stories. But a lot of these are actually kind of linked into one story, and then the other one is separate. So, Darren, this is your first time on the show. Would you like to pick a seal to talk about?
Yes, you must choose. You must choose a fluffy boy.
Well, I definitely don't think... I think we're going to be on for hours talking about the gays. So I think...
The gays.
I think we should start by talking about the DNC.
Okay, so who here has been watching some of the Democrat Congress?
The actual convention, yeah.
The actual convention.
Oh, it's been. I think a lot of people haven't. I've watched some clips. I haven't seen any of it live. I haven't really. It's not as relevant this year as it is in previous years because obviously the current climate that's going on.
Yeah. But
there's been kind of like wall to wall cringe and missteps in my opinion. But that tends to be what these kind of political conventions are anyway.
Yeah, I want to start by bringing up. I think it's like the first thing that really came to mind with the DNC. Where is it? Here we go. So this kind of went viral.
I saw that. And now I'm upset that I like the show that he's on, Pose, because one of my friends is in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for like a minute. She only has a really small part, but still pretty cool. Because a lot of them are from, a lot of the people that are acting in this are New Yorkers, or they're from New York and they film in New York. So, but yeah, I saw that and I was like, and people were like, "What even is this?" And I saw it and I was like, "This is a strange opening."
It was very surreal.
I saw that, and I saw the Bernie Sanders thing when he was like making fun of somebody for not being good at their job or something, and then he didn't know the camera was rolling. They were like live streaming, and he didn't know what the hell was going on or something.
I think I missed that bit.
Yes.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah. And his wife tells him to stand up straight, and it's actually really cute because he's like, "Stop fussing."
That's cute. Yeah,
It's the first time I've ever thought that communist-loving man was in any way cute.
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad dude. I think he means well, but I can't hate him. I can't hate him. He's a New Yorker as well, so. I don't agree with his policies. I'm not saying that. Saying that. No, I just don't think he's a bad dude.
Once again, I can say hello, Darren. I've seen you before as well, so I wanted to say hi, and also again apologize for being a little bit late.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right. Hello to you too.
I'm not on camera here because it's still very sweaty.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Same. Like I'm at the moment because I'm just at my parents until I get my new place sorted, which might take a while, and like I'm recording in like this kind of box room, and it's incredibly humid in here. And so, like, even though it's cold outside already, I feel very, very hot. So I'm not going on camera because I am a mess right now.
It is very humid. Yes, very humid.
But going back to Billy Porter, like I did the first time I ever became aware of him was I think he turned up to the Oscars with this kind of like suit gown.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like he's a Broadway star. Mm-hmm. From what I know, like he has appeared in a couple of things, like he's appeared in Pose, he's appeared in like a few different episodes of shows. He's going to be in this Cinderella musical next year where he plays a non-binary fairy godmother.
Oh God!
Nice.
All right.
Everything which I seem to see about him is like
LGBT.
It seems to be purely about flamboyance.
Yeah.
When you're watching this video, I would play it, but I think it would I'd probably get a copyright strike. What I find really strange about it is it feels like something out of, I don't know, like an American Alan Partridge.
It just feels like a really crap music video from the 1980s, like MTV 1980s.
Yeah. Like
this is supposed to be new television. This is supposed to be the Democrats who have got Hollywood at their beck and call, who have got more money than Zeus, able to actually put on this really, really polished, good production. And it just fell completely flat.
One of the stories might be that the DNC itself has a bit of a bare treasury at the moment. They're stealing all they can through, I know my usual co-host Shop Hataka put out a video recently about the Act Blue stuff, which is really a way of siphoning money from all the Black Lives Matter people towards the corporate Democrat headquarters. But aside from the past few months, their fundraising, if you look at the stories, has been dismal. They're actually quite low on money, which might explain some of this. That they are they have not been getting the big donors in. Bloomberg kind of pulled the rug on a lot of what he promised, and especially with like the down ticket races, like the state Congress and even like federal Congress level elections, they are hemorrhaging money. They are just not getting the donations in. So
and it kind of explains things like how a lot of these are like could well turn red in November, and it'll be fascinating to see which ones actually do. If they're at the moment posed to be losing to Republicans in several effectively safe spaces. And you even see the people that the Republicans have running, and some of them are actually pretty good. Like, how many of you saw the political video from the Baltimore lady?
Yeah, that made my heart sing.
Yeah, I tweeted it. She's awesome.
Sorry.
No, go on. I was interjecting there.
No, like something like that was absolutely amazing to see. It was shot really, really well. Like it put through a really clear message, and it wasn't. It was incredibly critical of the Democrats. It wasn't critical against an individual, but she was pointing out that Democrats have controlled Baltimore for about 53 years at this point. Look at the state of it. I mean, all she's doing is just walking through Baltimore streets,
the ghetto, right? Yeah,
and like people around the world are aware of how bad Baltimore actually is. Like, is it The Wire that Baltimore's featured in?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I thought it was. Yeah, like I've never seen The Wire, but I'm aware of it, and I'm aware. Like, I think that's also how a lot of people are aware of how terrible it is. And so all she needed to do is just show it and point out, look, the Democrats have ran this for years. They haven't. All that's happened with Baltimore is that things are getting worse. And then she talks to people about whether or not they should be abolishing the police, and they're like, there's one guy who says like his 3 sons had been murdered.
I saw that.
3
really,
kids.
3 of them. Yeah.
3 of them. And this is that's a huge mark against like the way in which that city's been run. If someone I mean, I remember in like when I lived in London and in Camden, and there was a point where I think it was in the space of a year, 2 kids from the same family had both been stabbed.
Jeez.
And both in Camden.
Is that a bad area?
It is now.
I mean, London in general, to be honest, is like pretty bad as far as knife crime is concerned. I still live in London.
Right. Me and proper Horrorshow used to live together. People who watched my channel right at the beginning might remember a cat who would appear in my videos called Gatsby. And she's
don't tell me Gatsby was killed.
No.
Is Gatsby the evil one?
Gatsby is the evil one.
Evil?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
I will not take this slander, Scrump.
I've seen pictures of Gatsby. They look a bit evil.
He like channels hate and anger.
I use the term benign dictator.
But yeah, like that area was fine up until after Khan was elected. Really, that was when it went noticeably downhill. Like the worst.
Hey, it was only 7 murders in a year. Come on.
Yeah, but it was like
in one neighborhood.
Yes.
Yes.
It's pretty bad.
Our wonderful local media reported on it and said that the issue was a lack of free school meals. That was the one that was causing it.
For God's sake.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Can't really be like that though.
This is but that's London. It's one of the reasons why I moved away from there. Like the place is just becoming a hellscape at this point.
One of the last times I was in Camden, because I spent a little bit of time doing a job that was in Camden. Not actually working there, but I was on a job. But there was some like guy who'd wandered off from Extinction Rebellion with like full dreadlocks and no shirt in the middle of the street, just like shouting about something to do with Coca-Cola. It's
we have met. That's where I know you from. Sorry.
The other thing that the chat's talking about as well that's really actually like the whole DNC online especially has been overshadowed by Laura Loomer, which I never thought would happen.
That is something that I wouldn't mind talking about actually, because it is like when you look at Loomer's kind of platform, really, I think a lot of her victory comes down to the fact that she was yeeted from all these various platforms. Like if you followed her on things like Parler, she talks about the fact that she's been, deplatformed. If they've come for me, they're going to come for you. That's a big part of her message. And it's incredible that despite the actual work which the Silicon Valley companies have done, and believe me, they have done work to completely deplatform people like Loomer, people like Alex Jones, yada, yada, yada. In practice, it's kind of like the Streisand effect. Like you're trying to not get people to talk about them. You're trying to pretend that they don't exist. You're cutting them away from everything. But she's still able to make a big dent. And now you got to ask the question of if she's properly, in this race, is it like are Twitter in a position now where they might have to let her back on? Otherwise, it could be considered like election meddling.
Wow.
I love the joke that Laura Loomer just ran for Congress to get her fucking Twitter account back. And the thing that amazes me most about this is Laura Loomer is in Trump's voting district.
Really?
Yeah. Donald Trump votes in Florida, and he votes in Laura Loomer's. Donald Trump is going to vote for Laura Loomer.
That's funny.
That is mind blowing to me that we live in a universe where Donald Trump. No, he's been retweeting her primary victory all day.
Yes.
He's going to vote. Trump's going to vote for Laura Loomer. I never thought, even in like 2016, 2017, it's like Trump voting for Milo. It's fucking weird, is what it is. Because Laura Loomer, I don't know. She might actually be okay in Congress because she does have a grasp on the issues when she wants to, but she's most famous for claiming her moldy tires were slashed when they weren't. She had a blowout because they were old, and also for threatening to piss herself outside of her headquarters. And she's going to be she's looking like she could be a congresswoman.
I mean, if it's going to happen somewhere, it's going to happen in Florida. That's what.
Florida.
All I can say is, God bless the United States
Florida,
of America.
I don't know why. I live there half the year. I can't tell you why it's such a weird place. I really don't know. And it's people that are born and raised there. It's not people like me who lived in New York and then moved. You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's like just I don't know. I don't get it yet.
So going back to the DNC, did anyone catch any part of the Native American caucus?
No.
Hang on. What?
Oh, so they had some great speakers at the Native American caucus.
I've got to ask. Yep, there it is. Oh wow!
God.
They finally have a voice.
Was it one?
She filmed it.
24.
She filmed it. She filmed it in her kitchen, where she could go and get another beer if she really needed to. Like
she removed the gollywog toy that she had in the last time she streamed from her kitchen.
What? She had a gollywog?
You not remember this?
No.
She did the "Oh hey hun, thanks for dropping me a beer" thing. Except she sounded like a regular person, and then she was being all relatable and stuff, and then people just looked at the top of her kitchen cabinets, and there was that wonderful historical toy was there. Look it up.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Let's see.
Was it like a minstrel show looking kind of thing?
It was the classic Robinson's Jam style one, I believe. I am really hoping that's not a Photoshop now.
Terrifying.
You might have to disavow me.
According to Snopes, it's false, but we know that Snopes isn't exactly unbiased. What they're saying is it's a pot, but like I don't know. Let me see if I can bring up this. Let me bring up this photo real quick. Because this is what people are saying that it is.
It looks like it, but apparently, I don't know. Those are like two different pictures.
Yeah, so
people are
saying it's the one on the right. Yeah, there is photo.
What in the hell?
What is that supposed to be? Sorry, peeps. I may have. Then again,
you spread fake news, Chloe.
I might have. Gosh darn it.
Apparently it's a different vase, but you see, we investigated it. You know, we do our due diligence here. We investigate claims.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the DNC was everyone freaking out when I woke up this morning over the fact that AOC had nominated Bernie Sanders.
Yes. Actually, that was something that is really weird. Let me just bring something up because where has it gone? Oh, God damn it. I've got so many different tabs open and I'm trying to go through different things. Here we go. Yeah, so this is the big thing. This is a big thing which I kind of wanted to talk about. So all I've really seen about this nomination of Bernie Sanders is lots of kind of scrambling from the establishment media to try and say, like, no, this isn't what has happened. And even when the places that originally ran with it corrected themselves, AOC was still very, very angry at them and accused them of misinformation. But for a kind of like just a mix up in the way that something was reported, I can't remember the last time I've seen the likes of Twitter handle it in such a serious way.
Yeah,
they're trying to correct. They're really trying to correct.
Like, they're really playing misinformation. If you watch, the thing is, if you watch her actual speak, regardless of whether it was procedure or not, it didn't feel like procedure. It felt like a massive swipe at Joe Biden, is what it felt like. He's not mentioned once at all in her address.
No,
it feels like she's saying that Bernie should be the nominee for president, even though technically they're correct in that there is a process for saying that he is a nominee for the delegates to vote for because he's passed the 300 delegate threshold to be classed as a nominee and not a candidate. there's a technicality they pulled out there, but no, the spirit and the letter of what she said is very much just felt like a full-throated endorsement of Bernie Sanders and a snub to Biden. And if that's what it looks like and feel like, that's kind of what it is. You know, I don't really care what technicalities they pull out their ass to say that it isn't, because you're right, this does feel like scrambling.
Yeah, but they're so fixated on that kind of protection, though. Like, do you look at the the recent letterboxes, like the whole mail fiasco that's going on in the States at the moment. Because I know that you like Scrump, you talked about this and Dumping with Scrump with Short Fat Otaku. There's a lot of misinformation going on about that. Like, there were photos of locked mailboxes being shared from years ago when I think there was a problem with like theft from certain letterboxes, and I didn't see any corrections from Twitter about any of this.
No, they didn't. A lot of that hysteria was over about, I think it was 27 removed mailboxes in the entire state of Oregon. It was kind of ridiculous, but no, there wasn't. Again, they will play defense like this. Now, it does have an impact on the political process.
Yes.
But I think a lot of people are finding it more and more transparent and passé, but it's all we can expect, really. The DNC really hasn't been, apart from AOC's gaffe, that is the biggest news come out of the DNC. They have not really landed any punches.
No. I've tried to kind of find out a bit more of what their actual stances are going to be. I do know trans-related stuff, because that's kind of my thing, unfortunately, that they are looking at kind of bringing in rules that would allow trans people in schools to use whatever bathrooms or facilities they want, and there would be repercussions if they don't get their way, which is very much a kind of, like, they clearly haven't actually looked at whether or not there could be any concerns about this, and are simply doing it just because the Democrats' position at the moment is to at least appear to be as woke as they possibly can.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let's get a litmus test then. So what does everybody, like, how many points can you remember off the top of your head about what's happened at the DNC, apart from AOC's gaffe?
Well, there's the singer.
Cardi B.
Of course.
She was, I think she was explaining to Biden that you can rock them afterwards. I think
it was such a strange interview.
Bernie Sanders.
It was strange. I think everybody was making fun of it. And then the best part of it, actually the best part of the whole Cardi B thing in general, is that Ben Shapiro recently uploaded a video reacting to WAP.
P-word.
I cannot, like, a Hasidic Jewish person reacting to that is I can't, like, I just can't.
The remix they made of him was pretty fire, though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if he wants to pursue a rap career, then again, it's kind of like an involuntary rap career, like Monday Matt had.
I've legitimately been listening to that all week.
I absolutely love Jarbo the Hunt.
There's some actual bangers in there.
My favorite one is Steam Cleaner, where they have Sargon in it.
Sargon fits perfectly. It sounds like because his accent's quite pronounced when he's saying that. He sounds like some sort of rhyme feature. It's great, but getting wildly off topic.
Yeah. So does anyone have anything more to add about the DNC before we move on?
Sorry.
Not specifically the DNC, but I am looking at a reporting of polling that showed, so it's the opinion polls of registered voters in the US on who they're going to vote for now that the candidates have been revealed. And when Kamala Harris was added to the ticket,
I think it's Kamala, isn't it?
Over. Is it Kamala?
Kamala.
Like, however it is said, I apologize.
It's how Americans say comma, and they're like karma, so it's Kamala, I think.
Kamala.
You gotta get it right. You've got to get it right.
You've got to get it right, or it's a microaggression. Okay.
You see, if I say that in my side, it'll be Kamala, and it sounds really weird.
Yeah, that's touche. That does sound really weird.
I say Kamala because, if I try and say it like the Americans, it comes out very strange.
Well, you're racist, okay?
So has anyone got any more to add?
I didn't watch any of it. I saw the clips that were being posted about it. It was funny.
All right.
All I would say is that my point is that people's takeaway from it is one gaffe and two pieces of weird media segments. No one remembers any like heavy hits that were taken in it. No one's worried about anything that happened there. It's been a complete miss politically.
It is kind of strange in that the DNC, like the kind of the American left, are really proclaiming this year as like almost like the end of Trump, and there really hasn't been all that much talk about what happened at the conference. Like, it is just the weird music video, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders with his wife, and that's it. It's a massive non-event considering this is the year that they're supposed to take the fight back against the evil fascists. But before we continue, a few super chats have come in, so just need to go through these first. So Mrs. Speck with the $2, DNC, we're winning, but we can't show you how.
Basically.
Jaws the Great and Powerful with the £5. What is Mr. Grimes' opinion of the term Prosecco conservative?
Well, I don't touch the stuff myself, so by all means, I believe in you.
I'm sure there's a photo of you.
Purchase whatever goods you want, but I hate Prosecco. It's disgusting.
Oh, do you prefer? Was it champagne?
When I'm feeling flush, yes.
As
a proper conservative.
So I got a new member for the channel, Johnny Izzle, as a new member. He's now a premium seal. So a thank you for joining. Premium seal.
He's a premium seal with over 200 confirmed kills.
Sam, what did you just say to him, you little bitch?
I'll have you know I paid to become a premium seal.
Premium seal sounds like some weird, like, gay kink.
It sounds like they're being branded.
Yeah.
Wasn't that thing called like seal?
It's wholesome. It is
okay. Sorry.
we do have more super chats though, so don't let us derail.
Sam Callahan with the £2. Hey, Elizabeth Warren just really likes Noddy. Okay. Oh God, remember that
I remember Noddy story.
The gollywog scene from Noddy. Oh God, that's spicy. And Mitch with the £5. All right, Darren, how's things like gan out about the tune later like?
God damn it, Mitch.
God, okay, now.
Bloody hell. Mitch. That was the most appalling attempt at a Northeast accent I've ever heard.
That sounded like a Canadian accent. Wasn't that what it was supposed to be?
I am terrible with accents.
About is very Canada and like Minnesota.
It's like, what you talking about? No,
what you talking
about? That's Canada. Yeah.
Come on, Mitch. This is why no one watches your show.
Oh, and Toaster, I do have the straw poll this time. It should be in the video description. Yes. So I have done it this time. I have done it because normally I forget. So with that, Arielle, would you like to choose a seal?
Let's choose. Let's do the parody purge.
The parody purge.
Yeah, because I noticed that too because I was scrolling to see who. This is gonna sound so stupid, but like every few days after I tweet some like shit that I know is gonna piss people off, I'll see who unfollowed me so I can unfollow them. So I was like scrolling on my Twitter and I'm like, oh shit, like Tatiana McGrath, like one of my there you go, there she is.
Yeah,
and I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh shit, and I was like, what happened? I knew she didn't unfollow me, so I was like, okay, something probably happened, and I went to the page and the account was what is it called? Not banned, but it's like put on a hiatus.
Yeah. Suspended.
Suspended, yeah. And I was like, what the hell? And it wasn't the first time I saw this. It was a few of them that people were tweeting about.
Yeah,
it seems coordinated.
Yeah, so like Titania has been banned on a number of occasions before. So, like, when I saw, I think it was Andrew Doyle tweeting about, the account's been, locked down again. Right. At first, I just thought, well, this happens all the time. But then I realized that it wasn't. It was pretty much the exact same time as the Babylon Bee.
Yeah, it was clearly a concerted effort, right?
Yes, yeah, it was. Like, you look at there's Jarvis DuPont, there's Sir Lefty Far Right, there's a number of these different accounts, and like all of them were just like, some of them are back now, like Titania's back, Babylon B's back. Last time I checked, Jarvis DuPont is still suspended. So Lefty Far Right is still suspended. There's a number of them that are still down. But the fact that all of these came at the same time is the suspicious thing. And I can't help but feel a lot of that is timed to coincide with the DNC.
It could have been, yeah. That's the same thing with the reason I'm super suspicious about this kind of stuff too is because I experienced this myself with YouTube when I've been posting the same type of content, like sex positive content, for 10 years, and as soon as I came out with that more conservative leaning video of me leaving the left, my channel got demonetized literally like a month after 2 weeks after I came out with that video. So yep, yeah, and I've been posting and the same exact content for 10 years, so I know from experience that this sort of thing happens. So when I saw you tweet about this, I was like, yeah, it's definitely, there's something behind it. Yeah.
The problem we have with Twitter is that we don't know if it's automated systems run amok or if they're doing this manually. But the result's the same anyway.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and it's always when it's going a particular way. Because you'll notice, it's like whenever they do these like mass bannings across different platforms of various problematic people, with like Laura Loomer being one of them. I think there's some people who I probably can't say the name of because then this video might potentially get taken down as well. But you know who I mean. Like a lot of these are very coordinated, and whether or not you agree with whether or not you like the people who this is being targeted, that is never the point of discussing it. What's important is that these companies seem to be having conversations with each other, picking out very specific high profile targets and then removing them. And this is yet another example of it, but this time it's all about parody, which is one way.
It is. Quick question, Darren, have you ever had trouble with your account on Twitter, or I don't know, do you tend to get much blowback on that? Because I have terrible luck on Twitter.
Yeah, I've never been locked out of my account. I think it's because they know that I'd scream the house down if they ever. But listen, I just go back to an interview that the chief executive of Twitter, Jack, gave to CNN in 2018, where he said, I think it's important to articulate our own bias and to share it with people so that people understand us. And I thought, right, yeah, he's accepting that Twitter has a left-leaning bias. How could he not, right? But then he says, we need to remove our bias from how we act and our policies and our enforcement. It strikes me that if primarily right-leaning accounts, which are mocking wokeness, that's all that the likes of Tidiana, for example, have done, is mock the culture of the woke. And if their enforcement policy, if their algorithms are targeting these accounts and only these accounts, it just tells me that Twitter are not taking this seriously. If anything, they're doubling down on their efforts to remove this speech from their platforms.
Yeah. And what I've put up here is a tweet that I sent out the other day with just some examples of whilst Twitter will ban parody accounts that lean more towards the right or critical of the social justice movement, they do openly allow the basically far left doxers. Like, I'm sure a lot of you might be aware of this lady, Emily Gosensky.
My God. Yeah. A lot of people retweet her and give her shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So she is part of a group which is called BAM, which is like.
Is she real?
Yes, she is a real person. So the group that she's a part of is called BAMN, which is short for By Any Means Necessary. They're effectively an Antifa affiliated group that are very highly pro doxing, even pro assault.
Their leader was
meanwhile, she's verified too.
Yes. Yeah, and so she, in this tweet here, posted about how, does anyone have any images so she can start doxing people? When she was called out on this, she pointed out that that Jack actually follows her, and she was reported, and Twitter did absolutely nothing. They saw no problem with her threatening to dox people, despite that being clearly against Twitter's terms of service. And this only happened in the last couple of days, whilst everything else has been going on. They're perfectly fine with it.
What I found most infuriating about the Babylon Bee ban, especially, was that Twitter apologized and said it was a mistake, because I think they realized they banned too big of an account.
Yeah,
that's what they do every time. Is it was an error. It was the algorithm, and it's just really weird how all those. Can I go slightly spicy? Tiny bit?
Sure.
A little bit of pepper?
Yeah.
Okay. So this might get a little
bit of pepper.
You cracked me up. A little bit of pepper.
A little sprinkle of pepper there.
The way
these laughs are going to get regretted. David Irving of Michael Gove's bookshelf fame. Okay. He was prosecuted for Holocaust denial. And I told you it was getting spicy. Do not worry. Stick with me. He was prosecuted, and his books were examined for their historicity on the basis of the claims that he made. And they said, look, hey, anyone can make mistakes. Mistakes are going to happen in any historical analysis, and there's an element of interpretation. But we've looked at all the errors that are demonstrably factual errors, and they all go in this one direction. And that is the basis of which they're able to say, this is not a simple work of historicity. There is some bias at play in here.
Right.
You look at the big organization, you look at Twitter, and it's like these errors, they always fall in one direction. And it just...
Every time to the right,
They can say, I mean, it came up before, and Tim Pool did a very good pre-Magabini, he did a very good job of calling them out and pointing out that the very nature of the rules that they set, it just
discriminatory,
entrenched the bias.
Well, the misgendering one in particular was he highlighted. I think he pointed out Megan Murphy's banning after she called Jonathan Yaniv a man. And bear in mind, this is at the time when Jonathan Yaniv was calling himself Jonathan Yaniv.
What's a fantastic example.
It is.
There's loads of them like that, though. There's loads of them where it's not even known, but accounts get banned for, quote unquote, misgendering anonymous accounts. I've seen that before. I've seen the excuse be used that someone had misgendered someone when the account didn't have listed pronouns and didn't have an obvious gender. It's an absurd rule on the face of it, and everyone points it out when it happened, but it really is just an excuse, and they always just want an excuse to ban people if they can.
Yeah, and do you remember when? Fuck, I can't remember the guy's name. The black guy.
That narrows it down.
There's only 2 black people that talk openly about this stuff. I just can't
Jesse
think
Lee
of his
Peterson,
name.
Larry Elder, Thomas Sowell,
they're not
Coleman
black.
Hughes.
Are they black? Oh, that guy.
Oh yeah.
The guy that's in the UK. The Zuby.
There we go.
Fantastic.
There we go.
For some reason I couldn't remember because I don't know if that's his actual name. That's why I was forgetful.
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat said Zuby. Do you remember when he said something like "okay, dude" to somebody and they suspended him?
Yeah.
I think it was actually to Emily Grzinski.
Dude is not even a gendered term anymore. Technically.
No, they just went okay, dude. They just stopped engaging and they got suspended. They got a lockout for that. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Do you want to see what other accounts?
Something happened.
Sorry.
We'll see what other accounts they allow.
This person, Emily, is she what does they identify as queer? Because I've seen them post stuff, but I really don't know who they are.
I will assume that she's probably some link to the queer community.
She's probably agender, non-binary.
As far as I'm aware, let me see.
Let's see her profile. She's got to have her pronouns,
Let's see. No, she actually does not have pronouns in the bio.
She's not even living by her own rules.
She is she's rude to racists though. That's basically what her bio is.
Racist, right? Racist.
Yes.
Okay, right.
So other accounts that Twitter allows.
Zuby was suspended from Twitter for tweeting "Okay, dude" to Emily Grasinski.
Right, and then these fucking people are allowed on the platform.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Well, it's in Twitter's rules that
they have it pinned. They have it pinned. Like they're proud.
Yeah, it's in Twitter's rules that they're allowed to have conversations regarding attraction to children, so long as they're not kind of sharing porn or something like that.
I mean, that's to play devil's advocate. I think that's fair. Because they're not actually.
It would be a lot more libertarian on other fronts, though.
Right. But like, it's not fair if you're not denying this person, but you're denying other people who have different opinions. Then that's what makes it not fair, right?
I mean, that's kind of why I'm highlighting it. The problem is that some views are verboten. Like you said, Zuby saying "Okay, dude" to
it doesn't make any sense.
Or Megan Murphy calling it's a man with a man's name a man. Like they are criminal offences.
Right.
So by
banned for life,
So by wading into issues like that, Twitter already shows that they have a particular bias towards a certain direction.
Absolutely.
However, this isn't a open platform for free discussion. I think everyone can agree with that.
Everyone knows that, yeah. Now they do, yeah.
But this is allowed in comparison.
Crazy.
Like, I think it's
aren't they like a zoophile too? Yeah, look. I saw you post about this, and I read their bio, and I was just like gagging the entire time, not in a good way.
Yeah. Well, here is a paedophile from last month, tweeting about Happy Zoo Pride to all his lovely dog rapist fans.
Jesus Christ.
So again, like
a bad account.
This is a bad. I got into an argument with that exact like account because like that. Butterfly thing is a pedophile symbol. Like it's
is it?
It is like as in like police are aware that is a symbol linked to pedophilia.
Okay. So do any of you guys like? I used to come across these people in the wild quite often. Yeah. But on your journeys in social media, do you see many? I started like a whole. It's all gone now because my accounts keep getting suspended and mildly. It's what I guess. Second most notable for, or maybe I don't know at this stage, but yeah, my accounts keep disappearing. I used to just run something called bad accounts, where I just get accounts like this and just find the worst accounts that I could. Yes. And there was a never-ending supply because these people come to me.
Yeah, but that's it. Like the second, like you openly because like I took a screenshots of a few of these people, and I would then just kind of tweet about like, look at this shit, and then they would actually search out the screenshots, and then they would come to you and start with their weird arguments. Like there was someone who, like, I was having an argument with him about, like, basically just saying to him, like, any point you make is moot because you have sex with dogs. And then he thought that but then his response was like, no, you've got it wrong. Dogs have sex with me. As though I'm like, what does
that mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, does that mean? Does that mean like is this person is this person like a man, like a regular, like a biological man? Like
you really don't want to go into it.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to know.
Do you not come across these people in a while then, Darren? Do you not click on someone's profile who's coming in that scene? It has like diaper fur written on it.
No, listen, I have absolutely never been happier to live in a Twitter bubble than in my entire life. Like I have railed against people being in bubbles, but now I have changed my mind. I am completely for bubbles. I think they are good if they protect me from this lunacy fringe elements of the internet.
It's like an iceberg on the surface. It's just like, normal progressives. Under that is like communists. Under that is like furries. And it's like diaper furries. Then it's just like unapologetic pedophiles. And that's what Twitter's made up of. And all these people are apparently allowed to exist.
Yeah. That is the problem. Like a lot of this is like, like this is stuff which they don't ever seem to crack down on. Like a lot of these accounts will just make themselves private, or they'll block you when you get into an argument with them. But otherwise, these communities are allowed to thrive, especially the paedophile communities, actually both of them, because a lot of the dog rapist ones have dogs. And, you want to be able to kind of, save the dogs that have fallen victims.
Anyway, does anyone?
Yes, let's move on. This is going in a very, very dark angle, and I do apologize. So does anyone have any more comments on Twitter's purges before we continue?
I will just say that this was predicted, and I know many things are predicted, but this is one I believed, so I'm standing by it. People saying a long time ago that there was going to be purges happening just before the election, just in time to do the damage, stop people for the drama to die down in time for the voting, but not give people long enough to build their platform back up. Yeah. And, hey, just look at the time.
That was stuff that was kind of coming out alongside Project Veritas, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So, proper horror show. Would you like to pick a seal?
You can't just call me Chloe. It's probably easier.
It is a hell of a lot easier.
Say Chloe. It's all good. It's all good. Can I have a gay, please, Bob?
You want a gay?
Definitely.
Right. Send in the gays.
If you can.
Right. So this is kind of like more of the main event, as it were. We've had our warm up, and so one of the things that I really wanted to chat, especially with with Darren and Arielle about, but Chloe wanted to get in on this as well, is the kind of politicization that we've seen over the last couple of years, more so than at any other time, of the way in which the gay community treats people who don't 100% align with their political views. Now, as a bit of a background to a lot of this, there's always been a radical element to the kind of LGBT rights movement. It's very hard to deny that. And a lot of this kind of comes out from the queer side. These are people who are very kind of anti-society. They believe that society is inherently problematic. It's heteronormative. They want to tear down all these kind of social, sexual taboos. And a lot of these people would always seem to hate gays and lesbians, especially, who just wanted to be normal people within society. They just wanted to be able to, get married, live free from state persecution. But that was never enough for the radicals. They needed to fully own this identity. And they were fairly the normal, the kind of the more, I don't just want to be saying normal, the more kind of rational side of it was the one that kind of became more mainstream until very recently. And it feels like there's been a kind of an insurrection with a lot of the kind of gay, the gay publications, the gay organizations, basically kind of gay culture almost, where it isn't enough now where you are just like a gay man, a lesbian woman, a bisexual, or a transsexual. You also now need to walk the walk. And one of the things that really kind of sprung this up for me is an article which I know we were chatting about before we went live, but it's this one about a guy named Brokeback Patriots, which is just seriously, nobody have sex with this awful gay Trump superfan.
I was very upset with them for this. I tweeted them telling them that it was bullying, because it is.
Yeah,
this is. But this is kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I'm aware of Brokeback Patriot. I follow him on Twitter. He's not like someone who has you would consider a substantial public platform. Or say Darren and Arielle, I would say that both of you have are more in the way of public figures than him. I think I'd be right in saying that. But this is them targeting a gay man, simply for being a Trump supporter. The entire article is just them bashing him. And so I kind of wanted to have this conversation on what do you think of the kind of the politicization that has gone on, the shaming about, as both of you are right-leaning, how you found all of this. So Darren, I wouldn't mind starting off with you if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, to me, it's really interesting because if you were to believe LGBT advocacy organizations, Stonewall in the UK, for example, or the LGBT Foundation, you would think that people like us still exist as a completely oppressed fringe part of society, right? Where we're all hiding against the wall, unaccepted by the vast majority of people, and we're only safe at pride festivals. But actually, if you go back and look at the data, especially for this country, it tells a really different story. 1986, 3/4 of British people, according to Britain's census, believe that same-sex relationships were always or mostly wrong. Today, that's just 10%, with 2/3 agreeing that gay and lesbian sexual relationships aren't wrong. So you have to ask yourself, why do these LGBT advocacy groups want to push this victim narrative and emphasize that we all are suffering?
That's an easy answer. You
Exactly.
know, you know why they're doing it. Yeah, you know why.
Yeah, so Stonewall has seen its income rise from £500,000 in 1999 to £8 million in 2018, right? And if they can't keep up this victim narrative, if they can't convince all of us in this group today that we are an oppressed minority that faces violence on the streets, etc., then how can they possibly continue to rake in that income, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we've got to tell ourselves. I think we've got to reject this. I'm going to swear. We've got to reject this identitarian bollocks that wants to just tear us away from being what we are right now, which is accepted members of society, or each of us. And thank God we are. And to get all woke for a second, the first bill that I ever followed through the House of Commons was the same-sex marriage bill. And I was really passionate about that because I thought, right, that'll send a really clear signal that no kid should ever have to go through what I went through at a state comprehensive in County Durham. But we did that, and attitudes have massively changed even over my lifetime. You know, I'm 27 years old, and that is a fantastic thing. We should be celebrating that and not letting people who, I don't know, identify as queer or all of these things that want to tell us that we're homophobic or transphobic if we don't fancy people with the genitalia of the sex that we don't find attractive, right? It's all of these things where they're either trying to tear us apart or convince us that we're victims, and we've got to just reject it. So anyway, rant over.
That's just kind of touching on Stonewall real quickly. One of the really interesting turning points with them is you mentioned about the fight for gay marriage, and really that was the last real hurdle for gay rights in the country. And Stonewall were against it for quite a while. Like Ben Summerskill, I believe, was personally against it for a while. So that passes. And they have nothing else to do except the very next year, Stonewall properly met with trans activists for the very first time. Yeah. And the year after, Stonewall became pretty much like focused on trans issues, despite the fact that there isn't really much more to fight for within the trans corner. I mean, we'll often ask trans activists, what other rights are we being denied? What is there that I cannot do as a trans woman that I would be able to do as like a man or a woman? Is there anything that I could do? They never answer it.
Well, you know, on top of that, there's another problem to this that makes it so tricky, and it's such a tangled thing. It's hard to know how to approach it, but this comes up again and again, and it's very clear here, but we don't even know what trans rights are. No. Like, what are they? Like, because these aren't just general, there's a standard, like, don't be an arse to someone on the street if you know, but they're very specific things that are being proposed that you can say it's a trans right, but it's like, do trans people support it? And is that fair? Is it necessarily something you need to do to get someone back to an even keel? Yeah, I suppose the sports issue is the most obvious one. Yeah, like, is that definitely a trans right, you know.
Okay,
and what you see is, oh, sorry, go ahead, Scrum.
I was going to say I have a question for Arielle about the just when did you really notice this starting to intensify? Like, I guess that you've had more of a view within like the gay community than I have, really, because I'm someone who follows it from a distance, but I've never really been immersed in that scene. I've never really, you know, I didn't see the shift really. I've really noticed afterwards what happened. When do you think really that the nastiness really set in and it really started to become about, instead of pushing more for constructive gay routes, about demonizing gay people that didn't agree?
I think honestly, I think it started with the rise of trans YouTubers and people like Gigi Gorgeous coming out. Not that she like, you know, had any negativity in any sense of the word, but I started noticing. I honestly, I really truly think it was YouTube, Tumblr, and Twitter and stuff like that helped these people get together and make these like groups, these activist groups, and came up with all these new names. And I think it started for me. I noticed it like around 2015, 2016. Like it started getting really bad. That's when I started. Well, I started posting videos related to trans people, like trans topics, including trans people in 2014. And I got shit immediately. But it wasn't like, I wasn't called transphobic right away. People were just calling me problematic. Like what I said was problematic. Oh, this is why it was wrong, or this is why you're hurting people's feelings. I remember it was getting out of control when somebody that was in the trans community, supposedly in the trans community, was on my case because I was talking about my own chest, saying that it was feminine. And they said, you can't say that about chests being feminine because they were like, I'm trans and I'm a trans guy and my chest isn't feminine. And I'm like, I'm not fucking talking about your chest, I'm talking about my chest. Like, fuck you. Well, that's when I started noticing, like, now you're trying to control other people and not just control yourself, like, and be able to fight for the rights to be able to change yourself.
Yeah.
You're trying to change me and how I see other people or how I see myself. You're never going to do that. Because even if I act like I'm changed, it doesn't mean that I like, obviously I try to be as inclusive as I can, but other people aren't going to be like us, you know? Most of the world they're not going to give a shit what you think.
I have a bit of I think the thing I remember most about this subject was something I witnessed when I was in America, actually staying with a friend of mine. Shout out to my friend Gwen, who I stayed with for a week there. She's got a lesbian girlfriend she's getting married to. But we were walking past this lovely little like cafe. We were in like, you know, a nice little town in Massachusetts. And this guy handing out flyers saying, oh, you know, do you want to support enhanced gay rights? You know, who wants to support gay rights? They're handing out gay rights flyers. And I was just going to ignore this guy. But she walks up and she's like, oh, yeah, hi. What rights are you pushing for? And it's like, oh, we want this right, want this right, want this right. And she just like stops him down and says, we already have rights to that. And she lists the bills and lists the days. And this guy looks a little bit, obviously he's never been challenged by it, looks a little bit taken aback. And she's like, okay, what rights do gay people have in Massachusetts that straight people don't have? And they're like, well, you know, there's discrimination in this area, and there's certain job discrimination sometimes. And she's like, that's already illegal. Like, what legal rights do they have that straight people, what legal rights do straight people have that gay people don't have? And this guy just stands there because he can't answer the question. Especially someone who's just said, oh, yeah, I'm in the process of marrying my lesbian girlfriend. Because she looks very unassuming. She's disabled, God bless. She walks with a cane. And I think he was just expecting this nice little discussion, and no, she just rips him open. I'm just stood there like, oh shit, I just witnessed a murder. And eventually he just like stands there silently, wanders off, and starts trying to give flyers to another group of people. Like he literally just had nothing to say and walks away. And I'm just amazed by this, because there really isn't an argument there. It's rare you see them challenged in the real world like that.
Exactly.
It was quite an amazing moment to witness, to be honest.
One thing I'd like to add to this, if I can, is my theory is essentially, and I'd love to talk with people who are sort of older than me and can remember back, but the idea that I think the construct of the LGBT community are like one big thing, or the LGBTQA etc. community, one big thing. I don't think that's a real thing. I think that's a handy political entity that is essentially used to direct lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transsexuals in as a way of sort of giving them marching orders, giving us marching orders, even.
Yeah.
I mean, Darren, who knows which time it was, but when Pink News had a go at you over the two genders thing, it's like the fact that they can say we are the LGBT news outlet, and we have found an outrage. It's like that is them declaring what the official opinion of the community is, and it's
they're speaking for everybody else, right?
Yeah, and just for context, there I've just put in there that's the screen just showing just a couple of the articles Pink News has written about Darren literally over the last couple of months. Like you look at all the
how many times?
Like, gay pundit Darren Grimes is really upset. Gay conservative pundit Darren Grimes doesn't think LGBT people need pride. He couldn't be more wrong. Darren Grimes, a gay man, wants homophobes to come out of the closet and join his website. Yes, he actually said this. I mean, you didn't. But
no.
Darren Grimes, a gay man who, this is it. Brexiteer Darren Grimes, a gay man who really should know better.
Yeah, it's
that bit there. It's like you're a gay. You're a gay. Yeah. You should know. You're gay. You should be following the line. And it's the fact that they added Brexiteer as well, because the likes of Pink News and especially Gay Star News, a lot of those were very, very heavily pro Remain. And GSN would run a lot of articles about how to be LGBT is to really support Remain. And they did this big article about how, LGBTQIA plus people needs to be within Europe because Europe gives us LGBTQIA plus rights when it kind of doesn't really.
No, there are many states that still enforce sterilization and don't allow you to get married, for example, right?
Yeah.
So it's just completely it's complete balls. But I think it's explained the reason why groups like this, which are primarily of the left, do it is because it's guilt shaming, right? It's shaming. They're trying to convince you that you're being nasty for the good of the group, and if you don't get on side, then we're going to regress to days where people like us weren't accepted in society. They're trying to create a sort of a self-censorship and a fear of actually speaking out on these issues. And I just say to hell with that, because I'm actually concerned, and I don't know if the rest of you agree with me on this, but I'm actually really worried that the more vocal that these minority interest groups that are pushing the more fringe extreme issues where, trans women are saying, hang on, what further rights do we need? Where gay people are saying, I am not oppressed in society. What they are going to end up doing is actually turning public opinion against us and damaging what we have built over years and years of struggle.
That's why we call ourselves damage control.
Well, a lot of these, when you look at let's say the 80s, for example, there was that radical aspects to, say, for example, the LGBT movement. The same way there's always been radical aspects to a lot of identity politics movements. However, in the past, in order to gain real success, it wasn't the radicals that really pushed that change. For a lot of the time, it were people who would be able to appeal to the masses. And there is a difference between, some of the kind of transsexual pioneers that there have been in public eye in the UK, as an example. They will be a better face than, a pink-haired obese warthog who's just constantly scowling at everyone with like a kind of like a never kissed a Tory badge and this tranny punches fascists and that, because that doesn't appeal when people like the way towards kind of further acceptance is really to kind of show that further camaraderie that we as British citizens or just we as people or anything like that we have in common. But a lot of these people are very much against that. They're against what our society stands for.
Right.
I always do the thing that I always do the man in the pub test, and the man in the pub now is getting a bit pissed off with all the rainbow shit.
Really? Of course.
I don't know. The prevailing feeling I get from a lot of people, they're being polite about it. They don't want to rock the boat. At the back of their minds, I think most people are thinking, should we really have let them out the closet? Is this the end result? Because what's happened is, we got to gay marriage. When we got to gay marriage, it was like, this is what we want, here and no further kind of thing. It's like, this is the ultimate end. This is our goal. Once you give her this, everything will be fine. But it wasn't.
No.
Right.
And I think a lot of people who would, I guess, more naturally homophobic or suspicious of the gay rights movement have been able to point to that and go, see, this isn't what they wanted. And I think kind of before that, the elements were there that they were Marxist, they were very far left, and it was really a means to an end. But the problem is that a lot of people are mixing up the neo-Marxist stuff with the actual, gay rights and gay movement stuff. And it damages the image of the average person who's gay, because the association becomes gay person automatically a fucking wacko.
Yeah, well, there's another aspect to this, and I think we're always going to end up coming back to gay marriage as gay marriage should have been, hey, we got there. And I think let's take Stonewall for an example. They saw that they'd basically won the battle, or at least every battle they wanted to fight, and it was sort of, well, should we shut up shop, or should we say we won, guys, and shut down our charity and do that? And I think they saw, with that victory gone, like a lot of the, shall we say, politically engaged element would have just gone, because, hey, we got what we wanted, let's head. And so they needed to make it really big on the T so they can drag everyone else back in.
That's exactly what they did.
That is.
And now even for the T people, we're getting told, like, oh, hey, you have to care about this issue.
Yes.
Like the thing they're dragging you for, Darren, or the thing they drag you for, Arielle, it's like, I don't have a problem with this. What the heck? Am I meant to be mad about this?
Yeah, I didn't sign up for this. That's what a lot of us are saying.
None of us signed up for this. Where did you get the gay survey? Darren, did the gay survey come to you this year, getting your opinion?
It didn't, but I genuinely, I find it horrific, though, the suggestion, or, the fact that there will be trans men and women out there who genuinely believe that because they've read this on Pink News, that I harbour some ill will towards them, and it's dividing us all, and it's really, really, really quite nasty. And we go back to that article that we brought up earlier about the Trump activist guy, and it's bullying, right? They're trying to silence voices that are different to their own, opinions that are different.
Wait, the funniest part of the fact that they wrote this article about him is, what do they always say about trans women and trans people? We have to sleep with them because, you can't deny anybody, their womanhood because they have a penis. You have to find them attractive no matter what, because it's affecting their, the validity of them, blah, blah, blah. Right. It's affecting their self-esteem. And then you fucking literally go and do the exact same thing and tell people to not sleep with somebody. Yeah. So it's just like the hypocrisy is insane.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, anyone reading that blog and deciding who they should and shouldn't shag based off of that blog needs to be put down. Like, I'm sorry, they shouldn't be allowed out the house if that's how you make your decisions.
Crazy.
What is that you're saying, Darren? When the Darren Grimes revolution comes.
Well, it's like, just kind of wanted to just kind of walk back up just a little bit. So Darren, you mentioned about like some of the different hate that you've received as a result of your positions, particularly from within the gay community. And there's one group which I've been dying to talk to you about, one very specific group, and that is, of course, the LGBT plus conservatives.
From my own party, yes.
From your own party. So, are you a member of the Conservative Party?
I am, yes.
You are, okay. So, do you actually deal with the LGBT conservatives yourself?
No, I definitely at one point had a rainbow-coloured pin by them, but that's about as far as my affiliation, as in like a lapel pin, and that's as far as my affiliation with them goes now. It's just it's another one of these, it's just people thinking that instead of doing good, they've got to appear good. And it's I just think they've got their priorities completely wrong.
Yeah, like just having a look over some of their different stories. So they've got why reforming the GRA matters. They got like various kind of things about the summer social online. Are you an LGBTI asylum seeker? As one of the things that they're posting. Mermaids. Like when you read through them, what conservative positions do the LGBT conservatives actually push?
Well, I mean, listen, to be fair to them, at one point, I would have been told and they would have been told that backing the institution of marriage for gay people wasn't a conservative position. But what I want to hear from them is what do trans people need? What do trans people want? I don't care about what some middle-class gay person who's running these Twitter accounts. I don't care what you think trans people want. I want to actually hear from trans people. And when I talk to people like yourself, what I hear is that getting access originally in those early stages to actually be diagnosed with gender dysphoria, for example, access to mental health professionals, things like that are pretty hard in this country because of our National Health Service.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about these issues? Why instead are we just calling people transphobes and not actually debating any of the...
Because people are lazy.
Yeah. And look at this. So this is one of the things which they've done on behalf of trans issues. Cross-party LGBT plus group statement on trans equality. So basically the LGBT conservatives are openly saying we share the same platform on like the Gender Recognition Act, on trans issues, as the Liberal Democrats, as Labour, as the Green Party, as Plaid Cymru, as the SNP. And so they put their own little spin on it. Why would
anyone vote for them, though? They're just saying that they agree with everyone else.
Basically, that's it. Like, the only thing which they say is, streamlining the GRA is welcome. It must also give assurances it will not tinker with the Equality Act, which will negatively affect all women. That's literally the only breakaway which they say from everyone else. They haven't really kind of given any real position on where they stand with anything. And that is one of my biggest issues with the LGBT conservatives. They will very much follow the line from other parties and do what they say, post this and share the same kind of things. But where is the promotion of, let's say, conservatism, of the free market, of individual responsibility? Like, when you compare this to the log cabin Republicans, let me just bring up the log cabin Republicans site for
I haven't actually seen this.
First, so you go on it. First
there
thing
we
is
go,
the LGBT Second Amendment.
It's much more relevant, yeah. It's not saying, by the way, we have the same position as the Democrats.
No, what they are saying is that they're pointing a very specifically, basically a Republican position. But they're able to do it with a way of saying, like, look, this is something which would benefit LGBT people. The website isn't really updated all that much, but what they have started to do, let me just share this as well. So this is another thing which they do by comparison. It's a website called Outspoken. Now, they've launched this quite recently.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
it's working for them.
Yeah, it's basically
Are they good?
Well, they're new. They're very new. So I can't, I have asked them whether they would be interested in doing some sort of interview. They've not got back to me yet. But this is a blog which they are pushing. It reports on news. It has opinion pieces. But this is at least a good sign of a conservative LGBT platform.
But at the same time, though, right? I just think that news sites that focus on only LGBT issues, LGBT issues, it's the same issues that everyone else faces in life, right? And I hate this sort of putting us all in these boxes, like we've got to consume our news from these various sources. But I think going back to your point on LGBT conservatives, I think they've decided, right, that they need to make themselves appeal to the progressives and look as progressive as possible to apologize for the past, like things like Section 28. But what they've got to recognize is that we have, as we've said, as all of us have said throughout this discussion today, that we have achieved, for the most part, I think, overwhelmingly, as far as the law is concerned, equality.
Yes.
Why are they not advertising that a bit more? Why are they not speaking about the good things that we've got, about acceptance in society?
Well, I know, Arielle, you're dying for something to eat soon, so I want to ask you quickly.
Yeah. I gotta go in 2 minutes. No, it's okay. I'm listening.
No. I was going to ask you what kind of your, I guess from a more US perspective, because it's mainly just Brits here. How do you think political outreach is from the political parties in the US in terms of gay people? Do you find it patronizing? Do you think it's something that the Republicans can do a lot better on? Because this, whilst you're right there, Darren, it is more single issue, but at least it's mingling quote unquote gay issues with traditional Republican issues. It isn't just like the conservative LGBT who are rolling over and just saying, well, like these guys. So what's your perspective on that, Arielle, then? How do you feel outreach works in the US?
I think that the only thing I could say about that is, from what I've seen, the only reason, well, not the only reason, I guess, well, you know what, it might be the only reason that people in the LGBT community think that they have to vote Democrat is because those types of people tend to be more seen as more progressive, right?
Right.
And we associate LGBT with progressiveness, but we've progressed. Like Rose, like Ashley said, like we don't have anything more to progress that isn't far left, right? Like everything that we've progressed on, in my opinion, is more considered to be more moderate, and that's why the left is losing people like me and Darren, right? Because we're like, we didn't sign up for all this crap. Like, what are you guys doing? And from what I've seen with the Republican Party, they're not focused on progressive issues. They're focused on like you know, somebody here said, you know, they're focused on more traditional conservative things.
Well, yeah,
it makes sense. You know what I mean?
But that's really what the kind of thing that we should be seeing the LGBT conservatives doing in the UK. Like you look at their website, I won't bother showing it, but it's mostly just Conservative Party press releases. It's just, the Conservatives are doing this, the Conservatives are doing that, but they're not really doing anything to sell conservatism, to sell their view. Yeah, and that I think is a massive problem when the left holds the monopoly on it.
Right. Maybe they just think that they can't. Maybe they think it's a lost cause. I don't know.
I think that's right. I do think that's right.
Maybe I think to round this discussion out, though,
then they need to change. They need to shake it up, man. Because whatever your political beliefs are, it has absolutely nothing to do with your sexuality or whether or not you're trans. If they don't think that they can sell conservatism to LGBT people, then they're not going
to waste their time.
The waste by them simply existing and not doing anything, they're wasting people's time.
Right.
You should definitely
allow people to be able to actually lead it and really show people that you can be a conservative, that you can be a libertarian, that you can have all these views and really own like the idea of being self-reliant, self-responsibility. Because the left completely just says depend on other people, depend on the state. Everybody else is the problem, not you. They all have to change. The LGBT conservatives are in a very unique position, one which I probably would never be in a million years, where they might be able to actually kind of give some sort of influence. They have the links. They have people in various positions of power who they can really sell this idea of self-sufficiency to an entire community, and they allow it. They absolutely allow it to slide because all they do is simply either parrot what the Conservative Party tells them to do in press releases, which, okay, fine. I mean, they are affiliated with the Conservative Party. That's generally expected. That's one thing. But when you see them sharing the same kind of articles that LGBT Labour would be sharing, when they're signing the same, petitions,
or calling me a transphobe,
and especially calling you a transphobe. You know, your views, Darren, your views on like trans issues are probably a lot more in line with more right-leaning LGBT people, and yet you have this so-called conservative group that without asking anyone.
That I think both I think both of you are actually quite mild in terms of your takes. Honestly, there's not really much. No. Well, you as well. Yeah,
I'm mild.
Well, I got lost. I did say we should ban Pride, but
No, I don't think anyone here is says things that are genuinely like. I see people who are a lot more confrontational, a lot more like I guess controversial,
Right.
like just all the time, and they are really picking on people that I think don't. They are not kind of like natural enemies to them. They're more like natural allies, but they're creating this environment where there's so many people who are just being cut off and purity tested and turned against them that you end up in a situation where it's like, right, I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be anywhere near this movement anymore. But I guess kind of round this discussion out, because I know you guys have to go soon. Like, what do you guys think can be done about this? Do you think this narrative can be changed? Do you think there can be a healthier kind of gay movement, or do you think we're stuck in this kind of continuous Marxist purity testing until the whole thing collapses and has to be rebuilt?
I think both are happening at the same time. I think it's collapsing on itself, which is why people are building other things like the Walk Away campaign.
Yeah.
On that note, I have to go though, guys. It's been like I haven't eaten lunch yet. I know it's dinner time, past dinner time, but I haven't even eaten lunch, so I'm starving.
It's been lovely to have you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining. We'll see you again soon.
All right, bye, babes.
Bye.
Bye.
I guess before you go, Darren, same kind of question to you. How in the UK do you think we could? I don't know. What resources are there available to gay people who don't really belong? Because I know people have tried to set things up in the past. I know, like they mentioned, the Walk Away campaign in the US there, but what would you say is the biggest UK equivalent to that?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, because I think in the UK it's much harder actually to not be accused of all of these things, and especially if you're a normal person working an ordinary job. If you come out and say, I don't know, you believe in that biological sex is an immutable fact or something like that, something along those lines, you are at risk of losing your job, right? You are genuinely at risk of people reporting you for this, HR departments finding out who you work for, blah blah blah. And it's like this sort of fear of those sorts of repercussions lead to a self-censorship, which means that, other people, I get emails all the time, for example, from people saying, I completely agree with you, but, I'm too scared to say it. And I don't actually think I'm saying anything that is particularly controversial.
You're not, that's the thing. No offense, but you're a moderate conservative. Definitely.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Somebody who's more on the left of the party. And in fact, a lot of people...
it depends on social issues, definitely.
Yes. On these kind of issues, this is what I mean. That you're talking from, I guess, the most familiar perspective to them that is possible within, I'd say, the conservative movement. Really, you're really putting out a branch, you're putting out your arm, and kind of going the extra mile for them. Really, you're trying to understand their position, but they're not trying to understand your position at all. And that's the thing that makes me worry about whether there can be dialogue.
Well, I mean, listen, what I would say to that is I think there are more and more voices. I'm getting more and more emails. My channel Reasoned is getting more traction. And I think it's just because people are fed up with this. I think people want to reject this identitarianism, which says, these are the acceptable set of beliefs. This is what box you belong to. You can't say X, Y, and Z because that makes you this ism or this phobia. And actually, people are just saying, I am fed up with this. I am fed up of this self-censorship and authoritarian nature behind much of this. And this sort of identity politics, which is steeped in Marxism. So I think a lot of people are just saying, enough is enough. They're looking at the breakdown of law and order on the streets and things like that, and the identity politics behind these movements, and they're just saying no. And I went all Maggie Thatcher to end there, but never mind. I'm gonna have to dash now as well, but thank you so much for having me on, though.
It's not a problem. It's been great having you on. Hopefully we can get you on again.
Absolutely, yes.
No,
I'm sorry for being too moderate conservative. I'm gonna have to turn up the tempo now. I don't think there are many people on Twitter that think of me as a moderate conservative.
I'm like you are. I don't know. I know.
Not the spiciness.
I definitely am.
Gay people to the right of you would probably call you a cuck, to be honest. But
well, there we are. And on that bombshell,
thank you so much for coming on.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Right. So with that, I think like with like two of our guests are gone.
No, it's fine. We can. I think that we can cover the rest of the stories in the time we have.
Yeah. Well, we have one more seal, and I don't think it would be fair to leave this seal out. This poor innocent seal who's come along with some news. And
we haven't heard from you, Chloe, much either. We've had guests cycling out, so we can get your long take on this because you always have fun takes.
So Clinton.
Oh yeah, let's talk about
the long take.
Why is Clinton on here, Chloe? Why is the new seal bought out?
You Bill think Clinton? I'm going to say anything against the Clintons on stream? Are you crazy?
So yeah, Clinton.
Well, they haven't come to me yet.
Here we go. Bill Clinton smiles as he gets massage from Epstein accuser on his stiff neck after trip on pedo plane. So there he is.
Headline ever. Well done.
There he is.
Yeah. Well, there's the fact that this has come out at the same time that they've kind of paraded Hillary back out at the Democratic National Convention again. That's been downplayed.
Yeah. Well, they even had Clinton Bill speaking at the DNC.
Yeah, they did. They had both of them, and it's amazing that he's there getting familiar with someone who at the time was essentially a sex slave.
Yes.
Not in the fun way. No. And in the actual nightmare way. I think it's hard to imagine how fucking horrendous someone like Jeffrey Epstein was, that he stole a lot of people's lives from them, but he did. And we can make jokes about pedo Bill all the time, but I think it really downplays, like, he must have known something was wrong. At least. I mean, nobody goes on that many fucking Pedo Express flights to his private island doesn't realize, gee whiz, this Jeffrey Epstein guy is kind of fucking creepy.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Weinstein. I was watching that little clip that was going around of Michelle Obama saying what a stand-up guy Harvey was. What a great guy, our buddy Harvey. And it's like, you saw that parade of actors come out and just say, "Oh, terrible, disavow." It's like, you all knew.
That's the thing, and all of these people know. They all know, and it's just so infuriating to watch them just lie and grin and continue to be in public life when they know, and we know. That's the thing. We know. I think most people in the US have come to accept the fact that Bill Clinton was in line with Jeffrey Epstein, but the most depressing part is a lot of Democrats seem to know and just don't seem to care. They are more obsessed with stopping Trump. It's some of the discussions I've seen on Twitter have been amazing because they are essentially, my pedophile is better than your rapist, because they still believe a lot of the Trump accusations, even though a lot of those people have now had to pay Trump because he sued them into the ground because he proved their claims wrong.
Yes.
But that's never brought up. It's never brought up the fact that, Avenatti and all that and Stormy Daniels got just absolutely blown out in court with Avenatti going to fucking jail.
Yeah. But they will always try and paint it as like, look at the really powerful man oppressing the proud independent women. That's the kind of gymnastics that they use to try and justify their thoughts that they believe Trump is still a rapist. And if these were photos of Trump with people from kind of like Epstein's victims, there is no way that the response to this would be so muted.
What are your actual thoughts on the Clintons there, Clark? Come on, don't be afraid because we're on stream. Give us your opinion on the Clinton crime family, as Alex Jones would say.
I think it's transparent, but the fact that Jeffrey Epstein became a meme kind of, I mean, we memed on it, but the point is they still got away with it. It's transparent. They're above the law. They get away with it. I mean, what are you going to do? It's kind of such an open secret that it's almost the dishonest. I mean, I don't even want to say it's a dishonesty of the left because it is more of an elite thing. And I don't think the elite are actually, I don't think they particularly care about left or right. It's just, it gets moved in a direction that's convenient for them.
It's about their interests. Yeah. And that's the, I hate to sound like the big brain big brain guy in the room. But that's really what is the point. Most people haven't transcended left-right politics yet. They haven't moved past the point where they realize that the left-right politics game is just about maintaining the status quo for the global elites. It used to be the country's elites. Now power has centralized. That's why I'm so opposed to globalization, because it adds this other layer of power on top of us. We went from national power to global power, and it creates a whole new level of elites. We went from the millionaires to the billionaires, the trillionaires, and money hasn't, inflation hasn't caught up yet. Wealth is centralizing as the world centralizes. Not all it leads to is this manipulation that it's a shell game. It's a show. It's the bread and circuses really is the politics. And that most people need to move past, waving the red flag or the blue flag and start realizing that these people are laughing at them. They're laughing at them as they literally rape children. It's so horrific. You have to try not to think about it, but that's what happens. And it's just like, how do you deal with that?
I don't know. I mean, we're in a country where we're at how many grooming gangs have been revealed right now, and I might have to stop this sentence here to keep your stream on. But suffice to say, we took the news that our police, government, and councils knew about this and just were like, let's not deal with that now for 20 years. We took that remark. We were pretty chipper about it, to be honest.
I will say it's
our upper lips remained remarkably stiff with that news.
I will say yes. I think people are still waiting for something to be done about it. Is the problem? We've had to push the report to come out, and it's the same thing. It's where there are vested interests, you just can't get anything done, even when people are put in danger. Even when people are being harmed, and that is, I think the Clintons are one of the ultimate symbols for that. They're the ultimate symbol of the unaccountability of power.
Maybe, but there's also been a very focused changing of how we view things. I mean, there wasn't, we're very atomized here. We didn't, how can I say, the response to George Floyd's death was not the response of atomized individuals. It was a response of a collective that's an evil done against them. Every single effort was made with constant media, constant government to make sure we never viewed the grooming gangs as a collective v collective issue.
So the thing is, you're right. There's a slight mistake there in seeing Black Lives Matter as something that's grassroots, when really it's this extremely well-funded and maintained activist organization that waits kind of in place with the wheels kind of turning and ready to go for instances like this to happen.
There is another level to that, isn't that? That it's there are plenty of instances where things could have kicked off, and it's you might find the timing of this one being the one that kicked everything off being interesting too. But I don't know how tinfoil we want to get.
The problem is that the interests. It's what the global interests want. We're going back to like I said, it's what is in the interest of the global powers and the people who hold the global power. And having a harsh reaction against, uncontrolled mass immigration and Islamization in the UK is not their interest. So the funding isn't there. The NGOs aren't there. The political machinery is actively demolished for people to do that. If you look at what's happened to someone like Tommy Robinson, even though, he's someone who's come up as a little bit of a patsy in certain ways. Even I think Tommy Robinson's quite imperfect. But look at what's happened to him, even with kind of how limited what he was asking for was. It's a case of the scales not really being leaned on. They don't exist. They're not weighing anything anymore. It's just a case of this happens. This is under no circumstance allowed to happen, and it's become very transparent. It's like what we saw with the Goodyears. Did you see what Goodyear tires were doing? With their presentation.
Yes, where they let me bring up the.
I guess you could say Goodyear got blown out.
Yes,
hilarious.
I would say there is no tread left on their moral tires.
Right. Okay. Let me just bring it up now for everyone to see. Sorry. There we go. So zero tolerance. So what's acceptable is Black Lives Matter and LGBT pride, but what's unacceptable. Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, MAGA attire, political affiliated slogans or material.
The thing is, that's such a contradiction because Black Lives Matter they're saying that all lives matter isn't acceptable, Black Lives Matter is acceptable, which I think is the more egregious part of that. I mean, I know Trump basically said that they had a MAGA ban, but to be fair, they could also say they probably had a ban on Bernie promoting stuff. No, it's the Black Lives Matter unacceptable and Blue Lives Matter and All Lives Matter unacceptable.
Yeah,
because
I'm sorry, Scrum.
No, that's fine. Go on.
I was just going to say I was watching it. I was watching every thread. Every tweet they put out, getting bombed with the responses on this, and it was quite delicious.
Oh
Their
yeah,
stock price, lovely.
Roasted.
Yeah,
and they got roasted.
They had to respond. You know, so you thought they might have waited it out, but no, they put out their response today, and all they said was, "This didn't come from a DNI, a diversity and inclusion seminar." It's like, okay, what is it? Yeah. And they were all they said was, "Oh, it wasn't from inclusivity training." It's like, okay, what is it? Is that just a new mural? What is this thing?
They've had a very bad day on the stock market. Oof.
It just makes it very interesting. Yeah, like if this isn't from diversity, this is just then seems to be put into normal slides for things that are completely unrelated to anything, to those issues, which makes it all the more worse. Because this might even be being fed.
Can I ask Chat a question?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, go on for it.
Chat, if you had a choice between two companies and one of them had put out the standard statement and the other one said, we're not doing all the woke stuff, and we're not going to we're not going to judge you for your politics, we just make good coffee. Give me a 1 in the chat if you're going straight for that second company. I just want to see what chat thinks of this.
Come on, chat.
Come on.
Don't let me down, chat.
Don't let us down, chat. You would want chat's been pretty good, and I have been seeing some people in the chat that I recognize here. So thank you for coming to see us, by the way, guys. We always appreciate it.
Chat says we live in a society.
We do indeed live in a society.
Alabastard, well done. Free Toaster, yes. Ruby Driscoll knows what's up. James UK knows what's up.
Portrait Seal knows what's up.
Thank you,
Lord Nameless Insomnium, you're hedging your bets, sir, but I can respect that. Okay.
1.5, yeah.
Years, 1, good.
Everyone's basically going 1. Yep, there's literally no 2s.
And you won't guess the wallet. Yep.
We need marketing departments to know this. We just need one of them to make the choice. Just saying, we're not doing it. We're not policing your speech.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on to the seal of the week, does anyone else have anything to add to this topic? Because we've kind of gone from the Clintons already.
Yeah, like I do need to go over some super chats. However,
yeah. That's what I was gonna say,
I have I do apologize. I haven't been as active on those as I probably should have been. So Mighty Balzac with the $5 Australian end women's suffrage. Haven't they suffered enough?
Good shit.
George with the £5. Activist orgs will say they fight for acceptance and tolerance. What they should want from the world is indifference. If they stopped agitating, they would win. Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, absolutely. That's like for your average LGBT person, that is what they want. But an activist is someone who really bases their entire life about the fight. And as we've seen with Stonewall, as soon as they basically got everything, they would completely fall out of relevance unless they can find more problems. Like every single movement, every single activist movement will never stop fighting for anything, even when they kind of get everything they want and find something really banal to fight over, because they're still getting money for it. They've got to get that funding, and they've got to keep growing. They cannot just sit back and think, well, I've achieved everything. They always have to find something else to struggle for.
Well, activists are really a bureaucracy, kind of. They exist in the same way. And the first job of any bureaucracy is to protect its own existence. And that really is the point of any activist organization, is to protect its bottom line, protect its existence, and protect its employees. But like any company. And you have to view them as purely self-interested, which they are, really.
They are.
I mean, they might get something further out of it, that furthers their personal goals. But once those are eliminated, like we've seen, they go into pure survival mode, and they are willing to do anything to keep that money rolling, because literally their jobs are aligned. These people are paid.
Yeah, and bear in mind that they're fear mongering about losing rights or anything like that. Again, what is a right? But it has an impact on other people's mental health. Like, look at the recent trans protests that have been going on in the UK about whether or not the government's going to scrap GRA reforms. All of this was based on one Times article that simply had a sentence that said the government is looking at imposing bathroom laws. But, just to kind of paraphrase it. But they took that one line, which had absolutely no confirmation anywhere else, and they took it as fact. And so they spread it all around the community. You had big organizations like Mermaids and Stonewall commenting on it. You had big name activists spreading fear by saying that they're going to take away our rights. Look, they're going to stop us from going into bathrooms. And this affected people mentally. I've had conversations with several people who have been impacted mentally by this narrative. And it turns out that actually, no, this isn't going to happen. If anything, it could be that the government's going to cook and go ahead with these changes, which wouldn't surprise me if that's what they do. But the activists didn't care about that. They still wanted that relevancy. They still wanted that fight, especially
the fear.
Yeah, especially with the big civil fights for like BLM. They wanted to get in on some of that, and so they pushed for it. I think that everyone who joined in those protests, spreading fear that they were bringing in bathroom laws, I think absolutely every single one of them needs to issue an apology to the community for scaring people, but absolutely none of them will, because what they care about more is simply their bottom dollar and their reputation.
Is that all the super chats then, or have we got some more?
There are some more. I went off on a tangent there. I apologize. Unpopular Tea with $9.99. Thank you so much. Queer lash out because they know most gays don't agree with them, and the rising tide of gays and disagreeing threatens their political power. Gays tortured in other countries, but queers whine for nothing.
Absolutely correct.
Absolutely. They don't really care about what happens in other countries, because as far as they're concerned, living in the West is the worst place you could be if you are gay. And Miles Kinslow with $5. Hey guys, speaking of minorities, does anyone have a white privilege card I can borrow? Since Biden is king of the blacks, lost my black card.
Is it 2066 already?
All I can think about now
is black.
Yeah, is them chant like Game of Thrones, like King of the North, but King of the Blacks. King of the Blacks. It's just him in a big throne room being carried around.
Well, with all that, Scrum, is there any good news?
There is some good news this week, actually.
Some good news.
I don't know if you have this ready to go.
I do.
Oh, good. This week on the 14th, an officer in California of the Lodi Police Department, officer Enrique Herrera, I think I'm saying that right, rescued a disabled man in a wheelchair from train tracks, literally seconds before the train came to knock this poor guy down. He'd become stuck on the tracks. He's obviously an old gentleman, has trouble walking, and in a rare example by the media of showing, decent police work, this officer came, risked her own life, and managed to save this guy who was stuck. It's quite an amazing piece of footage and quite an amazing thing to do. And I know it's an unpopular. I know there's a lot of problems that police departments have all over the world right now, but I would say at least the majority of people who do that job go into it with good intentions and do at least a decent job. We do not have a majority of corrupt or brutal police. We might have a bit of a problem in the UK of slightly useless and misdeployed police, but I know people who are on the front lines of that, and they are very disappointed and frustrated with how things are run. The normal rank and file police officer, I would say, generally just wants to do their job and help the public. And this is an example of someone going far over and above and beyond that. So good on this. Good on Erica for managing to do this, because if you watch the footage yourself, that was literally seconds away from the train hitting. That is a if I don't get this guy out of the way, I'm going to kind of moment. So genuine heroism.
So now is the time, if you haven't already done so. In the description for the video, you will find a link to the straw poll, because I did actually make it this time. I did do it. So I know that Toaster made it last week. So thank you for that again last week. But I did it, and I remembered, because I am good. So if you haven't already, vote for who you think had the best takes of the week. In the meantime, I will go over something which I think is incredibly important, something which is probably the most important news, and what you've all, of course, been waiting for, which is the seal of the week.
Yes,
and this seal of the
week. Please make it chunky.
Famous seal hitches rides with paddleboarders off Dorset coast. So if you look at him, so this seal, his name is Sammy. And basically, Sammy the seal. And he, look there he is. There he is again. He's hitching a ride. He's a really good seal, and he hangs out in Dorset. But like last week, some like local youths, local children were really horrible to him, and actually like lobbed stones at him whilst his mum was there. Yeah. So they targeted this poor seal who just came over to say hello. And like I'm hearing lots of stories of people throwing stuff at seals, and I just find it absolutely disgusting. Like, seals are naturally inquisitive animals. They will come over and try and say hello. It's like these kids were disgusting. But despite the awful way they treated him, like, Sammy still comes over to say hello to people. So his friendly, despite going through a horrific ordeal, his friendliness hasn't disappeared. And so this week, I think we should salute Sammy the seal.
Yes. Thank you for keeping your chin up there, Sammy.
Thank you for your service, Sammy. Yes. He's such a good-looking lad. He's a golden brown seal, the colour of sugar Welsh salted butter. It just reminds me.
You had to drop that in. So the voting. Well, as soon as we hit 30, I will reveal the results.
Come on, guys!
Already voted.
Link in the description. It's the straw poll.
Yeah. So there's 27 votes so far. I just want to get it to a nice round number. So if you haven't already voted, I'll only in 10 seconds.
Remember, only one participant in the stream had the temerity and the bravery to say we should cancel Pride.
Hey, I agreed with you.
Well, like, to be fair, like, both Darren and Arielle have previously said, like, what's the point in Pride? And like, both of them got thoroughly rinsed for it in the game media.
Yeah, you're at 31, so
31, 32. Okay, so drum roll, please. The seal of approval goes to Darren Grimes.
Hey.
Darren wins with 9 votes, followed by Scrump with 7. Then a tie between me and Chloe. And then Arielle. So, well done. Well done, everyone. And well done to Darren for winning the seal of approval.
Yes.
He was a great guest.
And thank you to everyone who's been watching, and especially everyone who donated, because that's very important right now.
Yes. Like, at the moment, I haven't been in work. And so, like, the super chats, the support on Patreon, Subscribestar, the memberships, all of that has been very, very appreciated. And I am reviewing the what do you call it? The benefits that people get on Patreon and Subscribestar, the perks. So that should be going up in the next few days. I mentioned my Twitch at the start. Let me just bring it up again. So I am going to be doing kind of community streams on here, playing different games. Tabletop Simulator being one of them. Fall Guys have been playing a lot of. Sea of Thieves, just basically lots of different things. But what I want it to be is, it isn't like I'm launching a gaming channel. Like, this isn't like a Game Boomers or anything like that. I'm looking at it just I had to.
I know how much is Game Boomers either.
But like, what I want this, like, basically, what I want this to be is kind of like us as a community to just kind of like hang out and do something. So if you can join the Discord, if you're into playing various games or whatever, what I want to do is kind of get like a weekly kind of hangout. We'll be in the Discord chat. I will be there. I could get, a couple of other people, like other streamers maybe, but the focus is more on the community side. We'll all just get together. We'll play games, we'll chat. It isn't like, big in-depth political streams or stuff like this. It's just purely relaxed. We hang out because I do want to do a lot more of that. So if that's something that you're interested in, please come and join the Discord server. I'll try and get something running. I'm thinking this Friday, if people are interested, of course. But yeah, please do that. And so I've just realized there's probably not a link to the Discord in the. I'm really crap with like putting links and stuff.
Oh, if I send you one as well, you people could join mine. I have actually one thing to shell still that haven't been kicked off. I do have a Discord, so I'll get that link over to you, Rose. And yeah, if you guys feel like it, come join my Discord. It's a pretty chill place.
So, Chloe, do you have anything to shell?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel. Anyone watching this might be surprised. I actually don't talk politics all that much on there. I'm mostly focused on horror films. But last week I did absolutely trash the idea that The Matrix is a trans allegory. It's a claim that absolutely bugs the crap out of me because it makes no sense if you think about it for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, hop onto my channel, watch that video, and maybe watch the other video on The Matrix where I, make the subtle case that the agents did nothing wrong.
Yeah, everyone like
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah, like Chloe's channel, Chloe's channel's grown like over the last. That Matrix video, I think that might have hit like an algorithm or something because that got quite a lot of views.
It did, or hey, I mean,
it's a good video.
That was super.
It's a really good video.
I watched it.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't just me. That got picked up somewhere. So like that, it's good that you're getting that recognition. Everyone go and subscribe to Proper Horrorshow. She give her some love. Give her some love. It's different to what I do, and so she does good stuff.
Give me a sub if you like it. Stay. If not, call me a loser. It's all good. I'm going to
say, if you actually look at what I subscribe to on Twitter, though, about half of it is a combination of gun and guitar channels. So I don't really I mostly follow, I guess, relatively apolitical stuff. I think most people do, really. Although I do have a lot of Tim Pool in my feed right now because I'm waiting for the moment where he snaps because it's coming. I can feel it building.
We'll do a seal of approval special when that happens. I'll see if I can get a beanie put on the seal of approval specifically for that episode.
Oh, please do it. Please do it. He's going to... Tim Pool, it's like he gets so close. He's so close, and then he backs away. Back into the centre. We'll get him one day, lads. We'll get him.
He's definitely out of the centre. He's getting to that point. He's primed is what he is. Oh, no, I don't know. I don't want to make the show run too long, but have you guys seen the clip of Tim Pool talking about the 14 words?
No.
Which 14 words?
Scrap. The 14 words. It's the future of our people and all that shit. No,
I'm reading far too much James Burnham to be aware of those. I'm a good girl.
Anyway, if you guys want a good laugh, Google Tim Pool 14 words. It's an amazing clip.
Just one last super chat from Claire. 13 more subs, and she'll hit 300. So Chloe, you're 13 subs away from the good 300 number.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So if 13 people watching this video go and subscribe, that lucky 13, especially fitting for a horror channel, you'll really help her out.
Yeah, I am a tiny channel, so it would be a mitzvah. You'd be helping me out.
So I think we're wrapping up to almost 2 hours. Bloody hell! So I think this is a good time to end it on that bombshell. I'd like to thank Chloe for coming on once again.
Very welcome. I had a great time.
I'd like to thank Darren and Arielle as well for both coming on. Hopefully we'll be able to get them back on in the future. And of course, a very special thanks to my loyal co-host Scrumb.
Yeah, it's been quite a long show today. The traps had to untie themselves, so.
Oh, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for the super chats. Check out the Twitch file. Come and join the Discord. Come and join the Discord so we can play video games. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time.